Mornings at 6 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs we're looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. That's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now you official now, but you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that new. I'm about to drop in a few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth.
WVON 1690 AM, the Talk of Chicago. We are here. This program is called Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Muhammad and Brother BJ Murphy. And we are here, y'all, every Tuesday from 9 p.m. until midnight. So we got 3 hours of talk, 3 hours of engaging, provocative conversation about what's going on in Black Chicago, what's going on all over the country. And, of course, our main feature is defending the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So without any further delay, my brother, who is the longtime editor of the Final Call newspaper and one of the most prolific premier journalists in the country, right out of Chicago, let's introduce our brother Naba'a Muhammad. How you doing, sir?
Assalamu alaikum, Brother BJ. How are you?
Walaikum salam, sir.
I just want to say we are very proud and grateful to now be members of the WVON family.
Man.
We are about bringing light, life, and power to our people and to anyone who is willing to listen.
That's right.
So, brothers and sisters, we want you to call in. We want you to be engaged with us, but we want you to understand the type of engagement we will be involved in. We are not the place for all that smoke.
Right.
We're not the place for arguments. We're not the place for discord and disunity. We are the place where we are those who are witness bearers to truth, and we are those who are bringing information that's needed in a critical time for our people. So we have declared ourselves to be black, strong, and undeniably pro-Farrakhan.
Come on.
That's our editorial position. Look, I don't think you heard me.
Say it again.
We are black, strong, and undeniably pro-Farrakhan, so we'll get into that. This is our inaugural broadcast.
Right.
We're very proud to be here, very happy to be here. We got a great show lined up for you this evening.
That's right. We got a great lineup. We got the 9:30, of course, defending Farrakhan. We're going to be doing that. And then at 10:35, the Black Press Roundtable, that Brother Naba'a will be hosting that, and it is a all-female roundtable.
All black female.
All black female roundtable. So that's going to be interesting. And then we're going to be talking about some international affairs and more live guests coming up at the end of the show. But we got a special brother that's in the studio that we love, and I know you love, so you introduce this black man.
Well, I think, brothers and sisters, that we really have people who have done tremendous work among us. And if you have admired the work of the Final Call newspaper, if you have admired the work that you see in the development of the paper over the years, we have in our studio a brother who is one of the foundational stones of the Final Call. This is past editor-in-chief James G. Muhammad, and he is also remains a contributing editor. And my brother, who I love, my mentor, one of my teachers, Brother James G. Muhammad. So, Brother James, welcome to the show, and I feel great having you with me.
That's right.
Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. my brother. That's what you say you coming with, right?
Absolutely.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you, Brother Naba, for allowing me to be a part of this historic first, your maiden voyage on WVON, and I am just honored to be down here. And this is my first time in their new studio. So thank you for inviting me, my brother.
Yeah, sorry we don't have a karaoke machine in here, brother. So you ain't.
You know,
be able to do no
man.
karaoke.
I could acapella, my brother, but
Yeah, we brothers and sisters, we are in a very serious time.
Yes, sir.
I mean, consider the fact that in 2023,
Yes.
in this country, there have been more mass shootings than there have been days.
Right.
That says something. We had a situation where a brother was recently decapitated in the South, where his family went to the authorities to get help and to report what was happening, and he was denied. We've seen police brutality all over the country. And then we've seen, perhaps even worse, us slaughtering one another.
That's right.
So how do we stop that? We believe, brothers and sisters, that we stop that by bringing truth, light, life, and power to a people that are walking in the darkness.
That's right.
So that is what we're here for. And we hope that you will enjoy the show. And we are really, really, really excited and really honored to be here. So, Brother BJ, go ahead.
That's right. Well, this is a demonstration of love. We were on with Perry Small earlier today, and it's just a blessing to meet this iconic Chicago radio personality, somebody I've always admired. And, our demonstration of love, us being professional broadcasters, professional journalists in the Nation of Islam, that how could we repay a man who, I thought about this today, repay a man who taught us how to put our complete trust in God. Outside of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, where would we be if we had not heard a man to teach us about the Lord, to teach us about his teacher, and to not bring us to him, but bring us to the source of his strength, which is Almighty God, Allah. So I thank him for what he's done for us and what he continues to do for us. And this show is dedicated to truth. This show is dedicated to righteousness. This show is dedicated to helping our people understand who he is to them and that you should listen to him. We want to get you more acquainted with the source of his strength. And don't be afraid, and don't allow anybody to tell you who your friends can be.
Yeah,
don't let your enemy tell you who your friends should
Go
be.
ahead.
That's right.
Go
Your
ahead, Brother
enemy,
James.
I mean, if you look at the work of the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he is the epitome of a demonstration of love.
Yes, sir.
I can't point to any other leader, black or white, who has committed himself or herself to just resurrecting dead humanity. If you just realize that if you're in this world and consuming the information and consuming the knowledge that is coming from the leaders of this world, you have to know that you're being deceived, because the leaders of this world are like those who were in leadership in the days of the historical Jesus, and they hated him.
Right.
And they lied on him. So what makes you think that even 2,000 years later that they wouldn't still be lying on the man of God who is here to liberate those who are oppressed?
Yeah, and I think, brothers and sisters, look, when we talk about Minister Farrakhan and his work, first of all, this man brought back the Nation of Islam. You do know that the Nation of Islam was destroyed, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
After the Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed in 1975. So if you are happy, whether you are in the nation, if you're just happy to see strong, upright black men, if you're happy to see civilized, beautiful, regal black women, if you're a fan of independent education, if you're a fan of independent media, if you believe in self-determination, that is what the minister has been devoted to.
Right.
In addition to that, he has been building institutions. Those institutions include Muhammad universities. These are independent school systems around the country, even as the American educational system is failing. You are talking about a man who has spoken millions of words a man who has visited death row inmates on death row and went into the cells with those who were on death row.
Right.
You're talking about a man who, when our young people were being attacked, he stood up and talked about black youth in peril and how they were being targeted. Did you forget Hillary Clinton calling our babies super predators?
That's right.
Did you forget mass incarceration under Joe Biden? The minister stood against all of that and then some. So we need to be because what I want, I want to recount what this man has done.
Right.
And remind us of what he has done. Brother James G. had the beautiful experience of going on world friendship tours with Minister Farrakhan.
Wow.
So if we are talking about freedom, justice, and equality, and having an equal status with other peoples around the world, you cannot do that solely operating in the American context and believing that if you operate in the American context, you will be successful. We're taught that all 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth belong to the original black man.
Come on.
So that means wherever we go, brothers and sisters, once we learn who we are, and we are ourselves, then we will be accepted. And the minister is an example of that. The man embarked on a 10-year tour. Stop the killing. I want you to hear this now.
Right.
A 10-year tour. Stop the killing. He didn't blame our people. He did two things. He went around the country speaking in particular to black men, even though the audiences were mixed. Right? After that, in 1995, you had the Million Man March, where nearly 2 million black men showed up in Washington, D.C. at his call to atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility.
Right.
Not begging someone else to do for us what we should do for ourselves. So we're just going to recount some history, and we're going to put some stuff in perspective, hopefully. So, Brother BJ, where we got next?
Well, we got people on the phone lines want to call in,
Let's go and
brother.
get them.
You're listening.
Need to take a break? What do we need?
No,
to do?
we're going to keep on going. You're listening to the inaugural broadcast, everybody, brothers and sisters. This is Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Muhammad. I'm Brother BJ Murphy, and of course, we got Brother James G. Muhammad, and we got the great ones in here. And let's go to the phone line. I think I see Brother Jamil on the line. Is this the Brother Jamil that we know and love? Brother Jamil, assalamu alaikum. Okay, we can't hear him, brother. Click the number. Okay, here we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, Brother Jamil. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, BJ, brother Naba'a, James G. Whoa,
What's up, brother, homeboy?
brother. Let me tell y'all something, brothers. It is so powerful. I heard you say homeboy, brother James G. You know how it is.
Yes, sir.
But I'm excited listening to you lay the groundwork for this program. I'm going to be very brief and get off the call so I can listen like everybody else. And I hope to be with you as often as I can as each edition of the program comes out. You know why? Because this is rekindling the excitement that many of us have not felt since the beginning of our Islamic sojourn, of the beginning of our journey. I'm excited like I was, Brother James, at 1063 West North Bend Road. At Mosque number 5, when I came there in 1969 to hear Minister David Bacha teach the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And by his grace, Allah's grace, I'm here with you tonight and listening to my brothers break it down. Brother Naba'a, when you talk about how the minister's work is affecting black America, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. And then when you take it and place it in the context of one of the inaugural members of the Black Radio Hall of Fame right there in the studio with us, Brother B.J. Murphy.
Praise God.
This is the power. This is the power of what we do. But Brother James G. Muhammad, traveling the world with the minister as a trusted, confident advisor and editor of the Final Call newspaper. Man, this is a great occasion. I'm excited. I'm glad I received word to tune in, and I just had to call you, brothers, and tell you how much we love you and appreciate you, not just here in D.C., but all around the rest of black America. What you do is vital Please keep it up. Please keep the doors open. Please keep bringing those straight words, because that's the kind of talk that we need to make things happen for us. So I'm excited, brothers, man. I don't know. Anything I can do for y'all down here? What I need to do?
Well,
Just
brother,
tell me how I can
brother Jamil, one thing you can do, you can keep spreading the word.
That's right.
The other thing you
Yes,
can
sir.
do is you can go to your Cash App and you can go to $.
There you go.
$ straight words in Cash
Yes, sir.
App. If you are on Zelle, you can try 312-480-9775. And if you're on PayPal, you can go to straightwords and the number 4@gmail.com. Straightwords4@gmail.com. But the best thing you can do, brother, is send us your prayers.
Amen.
Ask Allah to bless us, ask Allah to guide us, and ask Allah to give us the strength and to be strong witness bearers to this man who has changed our lives and changed so many other people's lives. I'm sure many of you have heard about the Nation of Islam's prison ministry, right?
Yes, sir.
You've heard the story of Brother Malcolm. You've heard him. You've heard about how Malcolm Little was a cheap hustler who dealt in drugs and women. That's Malcolm Little. Don't ever confuse the two. But Malcolm Little met a man who gave him an X. Malcolm X, that cut him off from that history and cut him off from the history of the slave master. X standing for the unknown, because the only way that Malcolm did that was that he did not know who he was.
Yes, sir.
So he needed someone to teach him who he was. And once he got the knowledge of himself and decided to be himself, he changed and began to rock the world. Not only did he rock the world yesterday, but with what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave him, he's rocking the world today. I'm saying all of this to say, I want you to understand when we talk about Minister Louis Farrakhan and his work and his impact and his commitment, that same resurrection of black men and women out of the hells in the beast of the belly is happening right now because of this man, Louis Farrakhan, and his commitment, and those who work with him, including our National Prison Reform Minister, Brother Abdullah Muhammad, and others. So, Brother BJ, thank you, Brother Jamil. We're going to go to another caller. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, brothers. Love y'all.
Love you too, brother.
bro.
You're listening to Straight Words on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago. Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad. This is BJ Murphy. And, of course, we got our dear brother James G. Muhammad. The editors of the Final Call newspaper are here, and we're giving voice to their work here in this mighty work with the Nation of Islam. I got Sister Melody on the line. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Melody.
Walaikum salam, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Praise be to Allah. How are you, sir?
Man, we're doing good. Now we hear your beautiful voice. What you want to say to everybody today?
Well, I like to say that the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has definitely changed my life, so I'll be a witness. I'm really happy to hear the things I'm hearing because I'm learning some new things, of course.
Wow.
And I'm just glad y'all doing this for the community, and that's it for me. And I have Sister Lorraine on. Sister Lorraine, do you want to say something?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, maybe she can't say anything, but anyway, she just recently.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Lorraine. How are you?
I'm fine by the grace and mercy of Allah. I'm just looking forward to hearing more about, because me and Sister Melanie out of Muhammad Mosque, number 35, Delaware, we're always in the community. And the Final Call is such a phenomenal, great newspaper, and that's how we use our fishing tools. So we want to thank you to all those who are working at the Final Call, and Brother Lamba. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister. Thank you. Thank Sister Melody. And, of course, we have to thank the men, the mighty FOI, that take that truth everywhere.
Right.
Amen.
That
Yes,
speak
sir.
to our people everywhere. These are men who delight in going to the worst areas, quote unquote, dealing with the worst of our people because they know that they're really not the worst. They've just been blinded by Satan.
Right.
They know that they are the best. They just have to bring that light, life, and power to resurrect them. Sister Melody, now you do a little thing with farming. Why don't you talk about that And since we're talking about how the minister inspires people, and Brother BJ, let us know when we need to go to a break,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
But talk to us about your work, Sister Melody.
Yes, sir. Well, yes, I have heard about 10 years ago the ministers talk about hoop houses and Dr. Eileen. So when I heard that, and then after going to training with Will Allen, you know, I learned so much, and I know it's so important for us to understand, you know, about the earth and where the food comes from. So now I know many believers and many people that I talk to now, we really on a journey to develop little communities, if you will, and places where people could go visit farms of our own, grow our own food, and do for our own self. So that's the mission I'm on today. I'm learning. There's so much to learn about the earth.
Yes.
I've, got some certifications and things like that I'm not going to go into. However,
Well, Sister Melody, no. I want you to share.
Right.
Give us an idea of how many acres you have already, and give us an idea of the certifications, because you are actually literally working in the field. And our people need to know what's possible. So talk a little bit about what you do, sister.
Okay, so, it's really funny because I grew up in the city in the concrete jungle, and a lot of people didn't believe, in me. And I can understand they didn't, because I didn't know anything about what I'm doing right now. However, to this day so far, yes, I have gotten certification from Will Allen in urban agriculture, and that was one of the best classes that I took. So I'm a master gardener. I'm a master watershed steward. I just took a course recently as a master well class. So I'm learning about the watershed. I'm learning about the earth and it's where the water go, how it go. I have 7 acres down here in North Carolina where, I'm getting some things built. So I'm learning from scratch, all of the things you have to know, and all of the permits you have to get, and all the money you need, and all the things you have to do just to take it step by step to get where you want to get to. And if you want a house built, if you don't. So all of those things I could, talk about at another time. But the most important thing, I believe, is housing and food. So I, got that from the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And for some reason, once I heard it, I just ran with it. And I thank Allah to this day because, it's so many benefits to and value to the earth that, I think some of us may take for granted and some of us just don't even know. But my intention for this, what I'm doing, is to teach young people, how to grow food, about animal husbandry. We have 2 goats. Hopefully, inshallah, I get 2 chickens very, very soon. And just do things to inspire people, hopefully, to go camping, to do things that's going to help us to, in the event that we have to survive, not like we used to live in, that we could start getting comfortable doing those things. So I know Brother Ghazi in Georgia getting ready to have an event. And that's just opportunities when we have these events that we could go and network with people that got like minds. And even if some people don't want to get on their, needs and stuff and farm like me, we could still do trade and commerce.
Sister Melody, let me ask you a quick question, though.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit, did it take a step of faith to jump out and do what you're doing? Like you said, you were brought up in the concrete jungles. How much of a leap of faith did it take for you to just leap out there? Yeah, just real briefly, to start farming on 7 acres of land?
Well, brother, I think I've always been a little risky at times. I think that's just one of my natures. I've always felt like if there's a will, there's a way. And I always felt like it's 100 ways to skin a cat. And people, sometimes make it seem like you can't do stuff. But, in your heart, if I can feel it, I can do it. And I just felt like that. So, again, I understood people knew that I didn't have the experience and the knowledge. But if you have a passion and you have a will for something that you truly believe that's valuable, then I believe that you could do it.
Right.
And I'm out here pretty much alone, but with Allah, that I meet people. I meet people all over, coming, going, here, there, everywhere. Mexicans, country people, everything, and even some believers out here. So at the end of the day, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and the thing is, I'm making progress. I can measure it on a daily basis. I could show pictures, I could do different things. So
yes, ma'am.
I'm happy at this point that I want to be able to help other people, especially young people, and I want them to be in a space where they could feel and understand the value of the land.
So, sister, we got to go to a break, but tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
Melody Muhammad on Facebook, Instagram, I'm Fancy Farmer Mel, and then you can go to edithfamilyfarms.com, to reach me. We named the farm after my grandmother.
Wow.
And, yep, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing, sister. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Sister Melody. All right, y'all. We're gonna take a quick break, y'all. WVON 1690 to talk of Chicago. That number is 773-591-1690. 773-591-1690. Brother Cliff, Brother Mark, and Brother Barney. Hold on. We're coming back, and our next segment is Defending Farrakhan. So stick around. Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, and Brother B.J. Murphy right here on the Talk of Chicago, WVON.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON wants you to live your best life possible. That all begins and ends with your health. That's why we're devoting the entire month of May to providing the information you need on health topics that impact you and your family. Every day, you'll hear helpful tips from various experts that can lead to a healthier you. And now that we've gotten past the pandemic, it's time to get back on track with your annual checkups. Your health is important to us, and we want you around and listening for years to come. Access Community Health Network is the presenting sponsor of WVON's Health Awareness Month.
Rest easy knowing your savings are secure and earning you more with a Wintrust MaxSafe account. With MaxSafe, you get up to 15 times the standard FDIC personal protection. That's right, 15 times the protection with the ability to secure up to $3.75 million per account holder. Now that's banking as it should be. Call 833-MaxSafe to talk with a local Wintrust banker today. That's 833-MaxSafe. Peace of mind is just a phone call away. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC. See FDIC.gov for deposit insurance coverage rules.
This is P. Ray of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self-esteem. As we battle COVID-19, be sure to heal yourself internally by using your God-given immune system, as well as any other treatments you choose. Be sure to take lots of vitamins, bake your melanin in the sunshine, and sweat a couple times a week. Put that pop down and drink water to build and hydrate your body from the inside. God gave everybody more than a little common sense, so bring it with you this Sunday to Black Excellence Hour at 5 p.m. on WVON.
I'm Reverend Mitchell L. Johnson, host of Straight Talk Radio featuring My Community Plan Foundation. Join me Sundays from 7 to 9 p.m. as we discuss community transformation. From housing to energy to economic development, our mission is local, our effect is global. From the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles to the DuSable African American Museum here in Chicago, you will be touched, educated, and informed. Straight Talk Radio, Sundays at 7 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I'm Selma, and I'll be your server this evening. The special is pasta primavera, and it comes with a salad. Oh, and by the way, I abuse my children. Lots of times I beat them for even the smallest reason. When they really get on my nerves, I lock them in the closet for a few hours.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize, perhaps then more people would report it. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children, and we can help you. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so remember, 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. A public service message brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music, playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the 4 walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Hey, Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
You're listening to WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. The last time that I checked, it was Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother B.J. Murphy, and, of course, the great James G. Muhammad. We're here. This is our inaugural broadcast, brothers and sisters, of Straight Words. We're going to be here every Tuesday in the historic WVON. I can't believe I'm on WVON, man. This is crazy.
That's right.
1690 AM. You talk about Black Chicago radio. This is the epitome of Black Chicago radio, historic radio station all over the country for Black talk. Nothing else like it, all right? So we are here contributing with the content every Tuesday from 9 p.m. until midnight. And the numbers for you to get in, our phone lines, I can't believe they're already lit up, y'all, brothers and sisters. 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. We're about to go into another section up until 10:30, which is defending Farrakhan. But Brother Naba'a and Brother James, we got the phone lines lit up. Y'all want to go to the phone lines first to talk to everybody, right?
Everything is defending Farrakhan.
Yep, everything is, right.
So let's get to it.
Let's go. Brother Cliff, thank you for holding on so long, beloved. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, sir?
Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam, brother. Thank you so much for taking my call. Listen, I want to first start off by saying that I am a Christian, I guess, but I believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and Jesus Christ was a black man. So with that being said, I got to give credit to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam and its ministers, because there is one unified message that's disseminated amongst the people on a consistent basis, opposed to my church brothers and my black preachers, where there's conflicting messages. There's no unison. So, and I give you a perfect case in point. When it came down to the virus and the vaccine, I saw white people in government convince and persuade black preachers to take the vaccine throughout the whole country and throughout the whole black community. There were very few that refused and went against it, but at large, the white power structure convinced and deceived our black leadership, our black preachers, to take the vaccine. Opposite of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who was consistent in not taking that vaccine for obvious reasons, and he gave reasons for that. And then also everybody else was consistent on that same message. So that's point one. The other issue I want to speak of, and I'll hang up and see your response, is the issue that Minister Farrakhan talks about when he speaks of the wheel within the middle of a wheel.
Come on.
And please go into that, because I hear black preachers speak about that in the book of Ezekiel, but I don't believe they have a clue of what they're talking about. And so Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about that, and this government has not been honest to the American people in this revelation. Please speak on that. I'll hang up and listen to your response.
Well, Cliff, thank you very much for calling in. And I would just like to say, first of all, we remember, I believe in the Bible, Jesus talks about flocks that are his, that others don't know about. So we are really all one flock. We're one people. We're one nation with different expressions of who we are. You can get all the information you need about the COVID vaccine, why you shouldn't take it. The dangers to it is in the Final Call newspaper. Each and every week we got a beautiful edition that just came out today through the hard work of our managing editor, Sister Starla Muhammad, and the great staff and contributors. But it is a beautiful edition, brothers and sisters, remembering Harry Belafonte, the great, great man, leader, servant, entertainer, cultural icon, political and activist giant. Much information in the Final Call devoted to him. See the special COVID section. I want to say a little bit, Brother Cliff, about the wheels within the wheels, or, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, the mother plane and baby planes. And you can find information, and he, brothers and sisters, and Minister Farrakhan are the best sources of information about these crafts. Why do you say that, Brother Naba'a? Because you a Muslim? Maybe, but not really. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad started teaching about these crafts in the 1930s. He was mocked and ridiculed for that. But did you know, do you remember, do you recall that just a few short weeks ago, the U.S. Department of Defense admitted that these crafts exist? And not only that, they admitted to the existence of something that they called a mothership with little small crafts that come out of it.
Wow.
Now, that's not exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, but I think it's close enough if you got any understanding. And if you're searching for truth, and if you are not so blinded by your enemy that unless the enemy says it, you don't believe it, but the way God is working today, the enemy is bearing witness.
Come on.
So there was a whole division within the Department of Defense. The man that headed the division recently retired. And they don't call them UFOs anymore. They call them now unidentified aerial phenomenon. And over the past 2 years, so you know what you need to do? You need to challenge me by going to Final Call right now, finalcall.com. You need to challenge me and see if what I'm saying is true by going to Final Call right now, finalcall.com, and putting in UFO, mother plane, baby plane. We want to give information, and inshallah, God willing, we'll be back with someone who will be able to talk about this even in more depth in future shows. But Brother Cliff, thank you.
I would also want to just add, to just clear the air, you know, he talked about him being a Christian and Jesus being his Lord and Savior. Well, we too believe Jesus is our Lord and Savior, and we are standing right there with you as Christians and Muslims and true Jews to defend the truth that Jesus speaks. Another thing, a lot of times we as black folk, we don't believe it until white folks say it's so. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad since the 1930s has been talking about this will, as Brother Naba'a just mentioned, but nobody believed it. They made it above top secret. Now that white folks are saying, okay, this thing exists, everybody's okay to come forward. And if the white leadership said, let's go talk to Farrakhan tomorrow,
right,
black leaders would be lined up outside his door because the white boy gave his okay. So let's not be fooled. Let's not be fooled.
You know, Brother James, you really bring up a major point. And I think the point for me that you raise is, how can you be independent and free relying on the people that put you in slavery to free you? relying on their interpretation of Scripture, relying on their interpretation of reality, relying on their interpretation of history.
And this whole debate now that the minister's having with the certain members, so-called members of the Jewish community, is based upon their definitions and their the way they define history,
Right.
the way they define terms, and the way they define the historical events.
Yeah,
Not based on what is actually true.
Yeah, and based on their lies about what actually happened.
Exactly.
And we'll be getting back to that in a few. Brother BJ, go ahead.
That's right. So 7 minutes before the top of the hour, we got to take a break, but we got so many people on the line. Thank y'all for calling in. Let's go to Brother Stanley. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Stanley.
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing?
Doing fine, beloved.
Right.
I just wanted to say I'm ecstatic, I'm excited, and my spirit is moved because anytime I hear the minister's voice, it is soothing because he is a guide.
Go ahead,
I'm
man.
going to be real short and to the point. I'm excited about what I'm hearing. It's renewing my spirit. Anytime I hear anything about the teachings, when I hear somebody talk about the teachings, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslims, it just soothes my soul because this teaching has touched me. So I'm going to end by saying this. There's so much I want to say, and I'll say as time goes on. But right now I'm listening. But this is what I want to drop on brothers and sisters in the nation and not in the nation. And I got some friends listening. First to the believers, especially some of us that have fallen off and been kind of weak, and we've been in our professions and trying to get things together. But as I look at my life, what has kept me afloat, what has kept me safe in his arms, if you understand what I'm saying, is the teachings. So I have made, and I'm striving to rededicate and really be a helper in this cause. So many of the believers, I want to speak to the believers that have not maybe been coming out to the mosque, have been inactive. Let's get reactivated.
Yes, sir.
And this show is just has ignited in me to it's encouraged me.
Praise
but
God.
I just want to say this: we all have skills and talents.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
And it's my belief that you don't have. We can share our talents, and it don't cost one penny. So one of the skills that I have, and I have many, and the believers, you have many skills. So I want to just offer this to help our minister and our nation and our believers move forward. Start journaling, because we have a work to do. We know what our work is all about, but there are individuals who have affected us. And so one of my skills is that I like to journal. I like to write. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said once in a meeting, one thing about the believer is that you cannot fool a believer. And so it's time for us to strengthen one another.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's been happening, but I'm getting strengthened. I'm getting strengthened. So I just want to encourage everybody to start journaling.
Yes, sir.
Because we have to really be brothers and sisters to one another and stay in communication and strengthen one another. So
Yes, sir.
I know that there are forces that don't want to see our rise. Start journaling, and when there's something that ain't right, send a correspondence to our leadership and let them know what your experience is, or what it has been, if it's affected you in a negative way, because we can't let anything set us back anymore. And you know as well as I know, a lot of times people stop producing when you experience pain.
Yes, sir.
So it's time for us to move past the pain. But what helps us is this teaching. And we have people in our mosques, our leadership. The minister has individuals who I know that a lot of us know, who we know have good character, have helped us, and helped sustain us and guided us throughout this, because everybody can't talk to the minister.
Yes, sir.
So let's all step up and use our gifts and talents. I'm just offering one of mine. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
all right?
Thank you, Brother Stanley.
When you experience something, let somebody know. And then lastly, I just want to say this to all my Omega brothers across the United States and outside the country. I'm letting them know that support Farrakhan. And I'm also proud. I feel so good. I'm letting them know that Brother Naba, he don't make himself of any reputation. He's a Kappa man. So I'm letting the entire Divine Nine know who this brother is.
Go ahead.
As well as Brother James G. Yes, we are representatives of these fraternities, but we represent our nation. So I just want to say to every Omega that I invited to listen to this show tonight, continue to listen. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his birthday is coming up on May 11th. So, just like we did at the Million Man March, where everybody was asked to put out some money and wave.
Yes, sir.
So I'm asking every Omega that I know. And trust me, Brother Stanley, know Omegas everywhere.
Yes, sir.
I'm sending a message all across America.
So, Brother Stanley,
I'm just going to say, let's do a dollar wave or whatever type of wave you can. And I'm going to ask them to send some money to support this brother.
So, Brother Stanley, let me help you out with
I
that.
don't have to give a long spiel, so that's all I want to say.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out with that. We're gonna give out some information coming up, and where you can support the program. But we're right up at the top of the hour. Thank you, beloved, so much, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother. My son bought his CD a long time ago. We used to listen to it when he was like 3 years old, and that brother learned how to recite all the lessons and everything through Brother Stanley's music. So thank you so much. You are listening to Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Muhammad and BJ Murphy, and of course James G. Muhammad in the studio. Our phone line number right up at the top of the hour, 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. Coming back, more of Defending Farrakhan on Straight Words.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Southern bloc of white conservatives toward this new coalition. And that's a fact. For these stories and more, go to BINnews.com.
I'm Vanessa Tyler.
And I'm Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Kids going to school in Flint leave the backpacks home. No longer will they be allowed for the rest of the school year. The school board in the mostly black Michigan city voted to ban them. And Alvin Hamlin, black father of a sixth grader, agrees with this year-end restriction.
I mean, it's basically for the safety of the kids. I mean, we having a lot of school shootings and things like that. So to make the schools safe, you would like to know what the kids are bringing into the school, because you do have kids bringing guns and stuff to school.
The backpack ban is district-wide. Small purses with hygiene products will be allowed, and gym clothes must be carried in a clear plastic bag.
The funeral for that final victim from the Alabama Sweet 16 birthday party massacre was held in a packed church over the weekend. 17-year-old Shankivia Nicole Smith was one of 4 black young people who lost their lives and lost so much promise. She was planning to go to the University of Alabama in Birmingham to become a neonatal intensive care nurse. Nearly 90 shots were fired at that party. Police have at least 6 in custody charged with reckless murder.
1 second, a young man was waiting for his turn at bat. The next, he was lying in the bullpen at George Dobson Field. A stray bullet out of nowhere hit the Texas A&M Texarkana student in the middle of a college baseball game. Police say the flying bullet came from a fight in a nearby neighborhood. The student underwent surgery and is in stable condition.
Most things are dead at cemeteries, but some say racism depicted on monuments in Arlington Cemetery is alive and well, which is why CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, wants a monument removed at the famed National Cemetery. The elaborately designed memorial, located in Section 16, is criticized for its distortion of history and characterizing black people as loyal slaves.
A new study shows racism and how labor is induced in pregnant women. 40 million births were analyzed by the researchers at the University of Colorado Boulder. They discovered black women had their labor induced because doctors often follow the needs of white women to do so, not the needs of black women alone. The study concluding systemic racism is shaping the decisions in obstetrics and not on the individual pregnancy issues faced by black or brown women. The must-attend event in D.C., the White House Correspondents' Dinner, is always entertaining with a mission, society's need for strong free news media. President Biden, in his remarks, reminded the audience the huge role the black press played when Emmett Till was murdered. We know Till's mother, Mamie Till, insisted his casket be opened so the world can see what racism did.
The reason the world saw what she saw was because of another hero in this story, the black press. That's a fact. Chet Magazine, Chicago Defender, and other black radio and newspapers are unflinching and brave in making sure America saw what she saw.
I'm Vanessa Tyler with Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Early screenings matter. Be sure to stay up to date on all of your health screenings while also learning about the risk factors. That's your healthy reminder.
What's up, Chicago? This is BJ Murphy.
This is Naba'a Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Muhammad and
Brother BJ Murphy.
And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, T.O., Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, The Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the T.O., Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
Welcome inside the Black Star Project, live from the Xfinity Studios here at WVON Radio 1690, The Talk of Chicago. My name is Herb Howard. Every Saturday at 6 p.m., I am alongside my equal parts brilliant and beautiful co-host, the one and only Miss Juliet Scott. We're talking all things the black community, from finances to government. Please join us. We want your opinion. Weigh in every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on The Talk of Chicago. Do you want a revolution?
The following message is brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The inherent right to work is one of the elemental privileges of a free people. Endowed, as our nation is, with abundant physical resources, and inspired as it should be with the high purpose to make those resources and opportunities available for the enjoyment of all, we approach this problem of reemployment with the real hope of finding a better answer than we have now.
Your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Your stuff can be a resource for change. Donate to Goodwill, where your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. 1 more if you're not physically active. Another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes. Another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger. 2 if you're very overweight. And 3 if you're really overweight. You've just taken the world's first audio prediabetes test. And if you're holding up 5 or more fingers, visit doihaveprediabetes.org or talk to your doctor. There's no excuse because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hey, Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
WVON 1690, this is the Talk of Chicago. This is BJ Murphy here with you. The show is Straight Words, and Brother Naba'a Muhammad and Brother James G. Muhammad. Of course, these brothers are longtime editors of the Final Call newspaper, and I've worked directly with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. What a privilege to be in the same studio with these brothers. All of the magnificent work and putting together, I call the Final Call a beautiful document that is released every week that goes out to heal Black America. And these brothers, and we got Sister Starla coming up in just a minute, and I know you brothers want to expound on more about your career with the paper. But this is Straight Words, and this show is designed to defend the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at its premise. But we talk about a lot of things that are happening in Black America. We've got a great Black Press Roundtable coming up, moderated by Brother Naba'a Muhammad and Brother James G. Muhammad. Sister Starla, managing editor of the Final Call newspaper, is going to be with us. Also, the great Cheryl Smith. I got a chance to meet her when I was working in Dallas. She is a longtime editor and journalist in Dallas. And also Sister Naima Latif with Midwest News. She's also a prolific Chicago journalist, so she's going to be on the line at 10:35. So let's go run down the phone lines, brother. The brothers and sisters been calling in. The number is 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. And Brother Mark, you are on the air with Straight Words.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just want to congratulate my man, Brother Naba, Brother James G. I am honored and privileged to be on. And I know that you all will do a great job of the defense of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I'm just excited. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Well, that's sweet right there, bro.
Real sweet. Good hearing from you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Good hearing from you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sister Lydia is on the line. Sister Lydia Muhammad, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Lydia.
Yes, ma'am. What would you want to say?
Well, you were talking earlier about how can we ever repay Minister Farrakhan for all that he has done for us? And what I want to answer, in my humble opinion, is that we can have information so that we have actual facts to give to our detractors. Sometimes people point out things that they don't like that he said or that they misunderstood, and we're not always armed with the actual facts, with the truth. So I'm really excited, Brother Naba, Brother James, and you, Brother BJ, for this program and its content and its focus on giving us, the listeners, the information, the armament that we need to be able to fight this war of the words. Congratulations. This is the first time I've ever called into a talk show.
Wow.
I'm really excited. And, may Allah continue to bless us all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, sister. All right. Stand by, Brother Mandine. We're coming to you. Sister Anita, we're coming to you. Brother Chris. But right now, Brother Barney's on deck on Straight Words on WVON. How you doing, sir?
Hi, salam alaikum, Brother BJ, Brother Naba, Brother James G, original salute.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ready
sir.
front.
Ready front.
Oh, brother, I could not let this go past without lending my voice of support and encouragement for this program. I thank Allah for you. Continue to do what it is that you do, and anything that we can do to help, let us know. I started with the minister from the rebuilding of the work of the Nation of Islam, where we didn't have anything. And so for over 40 years now, and I'm feeling good now to see what you're doing and to see the growth that we had in the nation. So may Allah continue to bless you and protect you. And as you mentioned before, those need to know that we don't believe in the spook God. So we're going to need sponsorships. So make sure we sponsor this program. May Allah bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brother
Thank you, Brother Barney. All right. We got the great Mandine on the line. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mandine.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother BJ. And assalamu alaikum, Brother James, and my brother Naba'a.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm praise be to Allah. I'm enjoying the show this evening. It's flowing well. It seems like y'all been doing this all the time, man. This is great. This is great. I'm really enjoying it. And man, I'm looking forward to it. As I told you, Brother Naba'a, before, I'm excited. You know, you had me fired up just hearing you talk about it. But here we are now, man. Everything is in fruition, and this is I couldn't hear a better launching of a great show that's going to be taking place on Tuesday nights. And man, this is great, man. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you all are doing. And those that know that I did a show for a little over a year, Elevated Talk, inspired by the name inspired from I did Sister Dr. Ava, but also the shows, you know, what we do with Crow Media, and my brother Munir Muhammad, who gave us all a platform to come on and express, and that was definitely the inspiration behind me getting on the radio show, and to showcase the believers, because you know they always want to. The people tend to treat us the way white folks treat black people. They want to bring us on. Right. White folks want to bring the black people on. It's a black story. They want to bring us on in February, if that, to talk about a Muslim-related story. But we have a lot of talented brothers and sisters, and that's one of the things that I always enjoy doing, was showcasing the believers from around the country, and in particular in Chicago, and all the talents and the businesses and just the knowledge and everything. And so this is just an extension of what was kicked off and what we always been doing. You know, with from the Muhammad Speaks to the Final Call to Crow Media to Elevated Places, Elevated Talk, and now we're gonna hit you with Straight Words. Mm-hmm. And so this is a blessing, and this was needed, brother. And, the followers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not just convicts, man. You know, we got some people that can cover everything, and this is just it's beautiful, and I've just been enjoying the program, and I just want to encourage you, and just as Brother Bonnie and Brother Stanley and others have said, that everything is real. You know, this is considered a brokered show, just like I used to tell y'all. So brokered meaning that we have to pay. This show has to be paid for. So. And the payment is expected every week. And trust me, they're nice about it, but they want their money. So, you know, as they're going to get great information, outstanding guests that will be coming on, and it needs to be supported. And, you know, as you already know, you got a platform with us and whatever we can do on our end, but I'm looking forward to these programs and the things that you all are going to be doing, brother. So I just wanted to chime in and put my 2 cents in, literally and figuratively.
Well, thank you, brother. Every sense matters, you know. I want to say, Brother Mandane, you did more, brother, than just hold down this spot, for over a year. You are the inspiration behind this show.
Right.
This show would not exist if not for a conversation I had with you. So I'm going to wrap this so we can get back to the phone lines. But I wanted to give a little bit of history. This is Straight Words. Our late great editor, Abdul Wali Muhammad, had a column that was called Straight Talk. So since I'm not big enough to fill my brother's shoes, I can just offer some straight words. So we dedicate this show to Abdul Wali Muhammad, our late great editor. And that's Abdul Wali, W-A-L-I Muhammad. Google him and go to the final call. I think we have some things there about him. Great journalist, great fighter, great warrior, great defender of Farrakhan, a soldier, a minister, all of that. And we also dedicate this show to our late senior editor, Askia Muhammad, the first Muslim editor of Muhammad Speaks. Askia Muhammad, who was also an early editor of The Final Call as well. Our White House correspondent, our D.C. correspondent, we stand on the shoulders of giants. So, Brother BJ, is back to you on the phone lines.
All right. Thank you, Brother Mandane. We love you, brother. Thank you so much for what you've done. All right. We got Sister Anita. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Anita. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I missed your introduction about how to defend Farrakhan, but I've been doing that ever since he's been attacked, like he don't follow the religion of Abraham. And, you know, that just is really bothering me, that people would attack him. I didn't even know he was as old as he is. That's so beautiful of him to care about us like he does.
That's right.
But, so I'm sorry I missed your introduction, but I'm going to say this. I was married to someone that grew up under Elijah Muhammad in Chicago, and I came in under Imam Warfdeen Muhammad when Honorable Elijah Muhammad had passed. I came in about 1970. Oh, God, I think it was 77, something like that. I was 17. And I was in college, and I met two Muslim girls that grew up in Islam, in the Nation of Islam. Isn't that weird? I was out in the South Suburbs at the South Suburban College.
Right.
And so I'm well aware of how well Elijah Muhammad taught, you know, and how Minister Farrakhan is following the tradition so well. And I want to put it like this to defend him the most against other religions that will try to crack and act like he's some traitor or some crazy stuff they can come up with because they don't know their religion, okay? And, you know, the Muslims were the first children of Abraham. So, you know, most people teach all they know to their first child. Everything comes to that first child. Now, they make revisions later, but that first child gets everything of that person's gut feeling. So that's how important Islam is to me.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
So when Abraham was told not to sacrifice his son and sacrifice his obedience, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So when black people were, the white men raped the women, they were not showing, they were sacrificing their children. That's what God asked them not to do. This is a real serious upside down and backwards flip, you know, of what God asked us to do is what these men corrected. And Elijah Muhammad went around and he did that on his own with the help of the supporters. And he made the word of God stand true, that men should be providers and people to stay at home and, you know, let their women at least nurture their children. They shouldn't necessarily have to work. I never heard anything from his teachings that they said the women had to be stuck at home and a prisoner and treated bad. It was like she can grow just as much as he does as long as she stays the nurturer of the children like a mom, like a mother. And that's so important because that's why God gave that leadership role to men so that the children would be protected. And you see everything in the religion of others that don't protect their children and don't protect others. I mean, you're supposed to protect the orphans, the widows, the fatherless, and none of this is being done except for through the black church, to some extent, and then the nation was the strongest, I think.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I am so grateful, to Minister Farrakhan for seeing the need to see that tradition continuously carried out. And I'm so angry about how they don't support him, and I'm particularly angry with the Jewish community for not supporting his stand that he has like Abraham. God told Abraham to be obedient. He did not beat Hagar or anything when he made a mistake. He treated her as well as he knew how to treat her at the time, and that's all God asked any man to do, is do the best you know how to do. And then he further gave, more instructions. So, well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he tore it up. He
That's
just
right.
laid it down. And Minister Farrakhan is real firm
Yes, ma'am.
on that stand. Yeah, and it's the only thing in the world that's allowing women to grow as people, as a person, and be a good mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Where, she actually is nurturing the children young and not running out to work and forgetting she has children and thinking she's a man with the man. And all. That's nice to have power and thinking abilities, but you're not supposed to overpower the natural order, because it destroys the form of the child growing up. And as you see chaos and people fighting and wars and multiple partners, same-sex partners, all kind of crazy stuff is just really out of order.
Yeah, you're right. We will get into that
order to it.
conversation at some point too, sister. You gave some great insight on defending the minister. We got to move on to a couple more calls, sister, but make sure you call in next week, because the minister's birth anniversary is next week. He'll be 90 years old, so we want you to call in and wish him happy born date, all right? Thank you, sister. Ajuman Muhammad is on the line. Ajuman.
Greetings, my brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I'm calling from the Midwest. My good brother Anthony Shaheed, activist, agitator, servant of Allah, encouraged me to give you all a call. So I said, let me call in. I am a mental health specialist, a licensed psychotherapist who's been in private practice for over 35 years. I specialize in trauma, dealing with black men and boys. And so I offer therapy, individual psychotherapy, analysis, group therapy, so on and so forth. And so I want to encourage everybody to, if you need clinical support or help, please reach out to a professional in your area. Stress and anxiety is a silent killer. Suicide is on the rise in the black community. I have quite a few teens over the past probably 2 or 3 years that have committed suicide. A lot of our young people don't have the self-confidence or the personal communication skills to navigate life. And so it's very easy for them to check out. Popular culture has a serious impact on our young people, particularly in the music. Brother Shaheed and I, we just returned back from Africa. We were over there for about 2.5 weeks. Almighty God Allah has blessed me to visit over 60 different countries throughout the world.
Wow.
Been to places like Japan and China and all throughout Africa, and the culture is very different. They have a culture of respect for the seniors, for the mothers. Bringing shame and dishonor to the family is a very serious thing, a very important thing, and we see just the opposite in America. So Minister Akbar Muhammad, who's the international ambassador for the Nation of Islam, will always teach us that it's better to travel to a place once than read about it in a book 1,000 times. So I strongly want to encourage your listeners to really travel abroad, compare and contrast. Life in America, when you think about the racial polarization, the racism, and all the other insanity kinds of things that we have to deal with as a people, it exacerbates our stress and anxiety. And so that's why many of us are checking out. We're turning to drugs and we're turning to these alternative lifestyles that are not conducive in the eyes of God.
Yes, sir.
One of the things they don't tell you about America is America has the most mentally ill. It has the most serial killers. It has the most mass shooters. It has the most incarcerated. It has the most drug addicted. I might be preaching to the choir, but so America is one of the greatest sales countries in the world. They tell people to come here and you can be all that you want to be, but they don't tell you about all the other things that go along with that, the price that you pay for that.
Brother Ajman, we got to take a couple more calls, but thank you so much for calling in on our show, our inaugural show, brother. You brought so much insight. We got to have you back. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Our Facebook page, we got a lot of people we got to check in with. Brother Naba'a and Brother James, Michael Gaines, Lionel Muhammad, Tyrone Martin is checking in with us on Facebook. Who else we got here? Let me get this mouse together. That's Sister Carmela?
No, that's
It did say Carmela. Yeah.
Carmela?
yeah. He's tagging her.
Okay, Carmela. Let's see here. Clayton, Tyrone Muhammad. We got Tyrone Harris Bay, Michael Coleman, Marcella Taylor. Who else we got there? El Malik, Al Rasul Shabazz Muhammad. We got Jaleel X. And of course, we had Brother Jamil on earlier, so we'll get to some more of these Facebook comments. But real quick, before we go to our break, because we got to transition into our Black Press Roundtable in just a minute. Brother Chris has been holding on a long time. Brother Chris.
Good evening, brothers. How y'all doing?
How you doing?
Good. I just wanted to lend my 2 cents in, and the show sounds wonderful. I know I can lend support. I will. I've always support the minister. I'm not, I'm not part of the nation, but I always support him, and I support him for his strength as a man and what he shows other black men and women, and food for the soul, food spiritually, and hopefully, he can, help the young people to see what they can achieve, no matter how the detractors try to bring them down. The man, 90 years strong, his oral skills out of this world, and just the strength. And like I said, from what I've seen him, I talked to him a couple times on the Cliff Kelly show, and it was a highlight for me.
Wow.
And not just the knowledge. And yeah, I'd support him 100%. I will be calling in. You said he turned 90. That is a blessing. And whatever I can lend and support, money, time, whatever, and just listen in and, enjoy the show. We definitely need, this type of enlightenment with all the misinformation going on, and, people, this type of, it's food for thought. It can lead you the right way, the wrong way. And with so much misinformation and people getting their 10-cent fame and not, feeding the village. I really appreciate y'all.
Oh, Chris, I just want to say, brother, you are part of the nation.
That's right.
We are one people, we are one family, and we're united in what we're trying to do. And you're helping the minister, brother. I'm trying to help the minister, and we all trying to make progress. Thank you.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, Brother Chris. All right, we got Brother Anthony Shaheed. Assalamu alaikum.
Wake Islam, how's my brothers?
Doing fine,
sir.
My wife, my brother Naba'a. I know some of the brothers, but I know this brother very well, and I love him. And I am a defender of the minister.
Amen.
And you can come anywhere around me doing all that ignorant talking. I'm going to let all y'all do all the diplomacy. I'm not a diplomat. So that's how I'm going to leave mine. You can come in with that foolishness if you want to. The minister's going to turn 90 years old. He's the last man standing. And ain't nobody talked as strong as him. And the reason I love him enough, I love him for 1,000 reasons. So I don't want nobody to start talking about I'm talking slack. He raised the name of the messenger. And I came up under Elijah Muhammad. I came into Islam when I was 8 years old, and I'm 68 years old now. And that's all I know. And we love the messenger. All of us love the messenger, but the messenger name was being brought down. And for that reason alone, how he raised Elijah Muhammad's name up, the messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I love him for that. We love the messenger. I mean, when I say we love the messenger, we love him. And to say anything negative about the messenger, it's disrespectful in the highest level. They talk about Malcolm, and that's good. They talk about everybody else, Huey P. Newton, and all these are students of Elijah Muhammad. The minister, the first thing he tells you, he's a student of the Elijah Muhammad. Minister Farrakhan is a student. Imam Muhammad is a student. Brother Jabir Muhammad, who was my teacher, is a student. Minister Akbar, all these are students, but you're not going to talk about the tree that produced these students. It's crazy. So, to come and attack the minister because he's standing on what the messenger taught, and because of some so-called Jews. All you got to do is read the book on the so-called Jews. What is that book that we got out?
The secret relationship between blacks and Jews.
Yeah, they don't want to put it out. All we did is quote it.
That's right.
You mad because we quote what you say, put it out there. They ain't kiss where the sun don't shine. I'm not on our program, so I'm going to be respectful.
Yes, sir.
But Yeah. But anyway, we love the minister. The 11th is coming around, and we just made a take. Well, bottom line is we love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the highest way. Nobody loves him like it. He has followers. So y'all keep on talking that crazy stuff, but you remember Supreme Captain that laid it down.
That's right.
You know, he's the minister, Farrakhan's son, the Supreme Captain of the Nation of Islam, and Jim, the Grandmaster. Y'all come with that foolishness if you want to, talking about the minister, and you're going to fool around and lose your goddamn life. That's what you're going to do. Don't attack the minister. Don't talk about killing the minister. You talk about killing the minister, then you're asking for all of us to come and rain havoc on your behind. You know, so all that diplomacy stuff, I'll leave it to y'all. Keep your goddamn mouth off the minister. That's what the hell you need to do. So I ain't going to hold y'all up because y'all got some other stuff. I'm going to make y'all lose y'all program fool with me.
All right, brother.
Just want to say,
God bless you.
Thank you, Brother Anthony. Assalamu alaikum.
I love you, Naba. You know I love you.
Yes,
I love you coming through here when Mike Brown got killed, and you stayed here damn near 3 months on the ground with us, and I seen how you soldier. You love Mr. Farrakhan, and you show it with your pistol. You're right. This is straight talk, man. Allah bless y'all. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
And of course, this is Brother Anthony Shaheed, a lover of the minister, and that which you love, you will defend.
That's right.
That's right.
He's a Muslim, and what he believes is never be the aggressor. But if you are attacked for your belief in Allah and His Christ, fight with those who fight with you. We have the right to self-defense, and we are never aggressors in words or in action, so you should never do that to us. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Anthony. Let's go, Brother BJ.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too, soldier. Thank you so much for calling in, brothers and sisters. This is the inaugural broadcast of Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad. I'm Brother B.J. Murphy, and, of course, Brother James G. Muhammad is in the studio with us. All right, we're going to take a break right now, brothers and sisters. We got the Black Press Roundtable coming up, and Brother Naba'a is going to be moderating that along with Brother James G. And Sister Starla, managing editor of The Final Call, she's going to be on. And we have Miss Cheryl Smith, the journalist, editor out of Dallas, Texas. Naima Latif from Midwest News, and she's a longtime Chicago journalist. She's going to be on the line as well. So the Black Press Roundtable coming up with your Black sisters exclusive. You never heard no Black Roundtable with just sisters on it. So we uplift and elevate the Black woman here on this show. Straight Words is coming back right here on WVON 1690 AM, The Talk of Chicago.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
This is P-Ray of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self-esteem. As we battle COVID-19, be sure to heal yourself internally by using your God-given immune system, as well as any other treatments you choose. Be sure to take lots of vitamins, bake your melanin in the sunshine, and sweat a couple times a week. Put that pop down and drink water to build and hydrate your body from the inside. God gave everybody more than a little common sense, so bring it with you this Sunday to Black Excellence Hour at 5 p.m. on WVON.
Welcome inside the Black Star Project, live from the Xfinity Studios here at WVON Radio 1690, the Talk of Chicago. My name is Herb Howard. Every Saturday at 6 p.m., I am alongside my equal parts brilliant and beautiful co-host, the one and only Miss Juliet Scott. We are talking all things the Black community, from finances to government. Please join us. We want your opinion. Weigh in every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on the Talk of Chicago. Do you want a revolution?
I'm Reverend Mitchell L. Johnson, host of Straight Talk Radio featuring My Community Plan Foundation. Join me Sundays from 7 to 9 p.m. as we discuss community transformation. From housing to energy to economic development, our mission is local, our effect is global. From the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles to the DuSable African American Museum here in Chicago, you will be touched, educated, and informed. Straight Talk Radio, Sundays at 7 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, T.O., Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the T.O., Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
What's up, Chicago? This is BJ Murphy.
This is Naba'a Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Muhammad and
Brother BJ Murphy.
And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m., hosts and owners of Top & Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance, and they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top & Top Insurance Agency.
I'm Selma, and I'll be your server this evening. The special is pasta primavera, and it comes with a salad. Oh, and by the way, I abuse my children. Lots of times I beat them for even the smallest reason. When they really get on my nerves, I lock them in the closet for a few hours.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize. Perhaps then more people would report it. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children, and we can help you. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so remember, 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. A public service message brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40, 1 more if you're not physically active, another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes, another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger, 2 if you're very overweight, and 3 if you're really overweight. You've just taken the world's first audio prediabetes test. And if you're holding up 5 or more fingers, visit doihaveprediabetes.org or talk to your doctor. There's no excuse because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's WVON 1690. This is the Talk of Chicago. Straight Words, our inaugural program. Brother Naba'a Muhammad. This is BJ Murphy. and of course, Brother James G. Muhammad. And it is Ladies' Night tonight because we got our Black Press Roundtable with our sisters. This has never happened before, right? I've never been a part of a all-female Black roundtable of the press. And of course, they, like my brother called in earlier, said they always leave us out when it's something to talk about where we could add substance to it. They leave us out, but we don't do that here. We elevate the Black woman. And Brother Richard, you wanted to do this. This was very dear to him to make this happen. So I'm glad that we're finally going to get a chance to witness it.
Well, brother, thank you again. What we hope to do is to elevate voices that must be heard.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot say we believe that the nation can rise no higher than its woman and then not showcase outstanding women who will in turn inspire other women and girls. So we're very blessed. We're very honored to have with us tonight. And I'm going to get to the introduction so we can get to the heart of the matter. Cheryl Smith. Cheryl is the publisher of the Texas Metro News. See, I said publisher now.
Mm-hmm.
She the boss.
That's right.
Texas Metro News, Garland Journal, and iMessenger. She's a graduate of FAMU, Historically Black University. Go ahead.
Yeah,
She's treasurer of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, which is the association for the 200-plus Black newspapers around the country. And in 2022, she was inducted into the NABJ Hall of Fame.
Wow.
We got Cheryl. She's out of Dallas. Next, we have Naima Latif, our sister based here in Chicago, president and CEO of the online network of Associated Internet Radio Hosts, as well as managing editor for the On Air Daily News website and editor-in-chief of On Air Weekly magazine. And she does some other stuff that deals with daily reporting, local, national, and international issues. She also owns the On Air TV network. She's the boss, too.
Wow.
Here's the real boss. Sister Starla Muhammad is managing editor for The Final Call, founded by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and published by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Mrs. Muhammad began her career with The Final Call as a freelance writer, then became a contributing writer. She came on board as a staff writer in October 2010. What a blessed day that was.
Yes, ma'am.
And she became an assistant editor in 2013, another blessed day. She was appointed managing editor in 2016, and she put out a beautiful edition this day, remembering Harry Belafonte. So, sisters, thank you all. Thank you. Look, let's start, Sister Starla, with you, and then let's go on around the table. But thank you for honoring, all of you for honoring us with your presence. So, Sister Starla, go ahead, and Sister Naima and Sister Cheryl, y'all get ready.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam,
ma'am.
I may be dating myself, Brother Naba'a, but I remember back in the day there was a movie called Three the Hard Way.
Go ahead now. Go ahead. Teach on that.
Jim Brown, Jim Kelly, and I think Fred Williamson. So
yeah, I'm Jim Kelly. I'm Jim Kelly. Thank you.
So I'm viewing my brothers right now. I'm tuned in on Facebook, and as I tuned into the show earlier, I was so excited and so happy to see you all, and this is such a powerful moment. And Brother Naba'a and Brother James G, you all, are mentors to me, and have taught me much of what I know, and I'm still trying to get better each and every day. So just want to give you, brother, some love, and I'm so honored and privileged, of course, to see my brother B.J. Murphy with the smooth radio voice, and I'm so excited to be with my sisters this evening, Sister Cheryl and Sister Naima as well. So just ready to get to it. Thank you all for having me this evening.
So, Sister Starla, talk a little bit about what's in the Final Call, and I guess there's no better place to start. Talk about this coverage, remembering Harry Belafonte.
Oh, Brother Naba'a, first and foremost, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, loved, and admired Brother Harry Belafonte so much. Of course, both men being having Caribbean roots from the island of Jamaica, and of course, the minister's mother from St. Kitts. But if anyone had an opportunity a few days ago to tune in to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on Roland Martin Unfiltered, you could hear the love and admiration that he had for Mr. Belafonte in the words that he expressed. So in this current edition of the Final Call newspaper, we feature the great Mr. Belafonte on the cover, a beautiful, beautiful photo of our brother in his younger days. And we have extensive coverage on the inside of this edition, Brother Naba'a, a beautiful article written by our staff writer, Brother Brian Muhammad, entitled Harry Belafonte, a Giant Among Men Who Serve a Divine Purpose. And then we have another article written by our national correspondent, Sister Charlene Muhammad, honoring a son of Jamaica. But we don't just have those two articles, Brother Naba'a. In this current issue of the paper, and this just shows, again, the love and admiration that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had for our brother. And in this current edition, in the center section, there is an 8-page, you heard it, an 8-page insert of the minister's message that he shared on Roland Martin's show, with an additional several pages of beautiful, beautiful photos of Mr. Belafonte. Of course, he was a giant, not only in the entertainment industry, a groundbreaker, an actor. You know, he brought Calypso to popularity, but of course the work that he did as a freedom fighter for Black people, not just here in the U.S., but of course abroad. He was a confidant of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was active not only in the civil rights movement, but was a strong voice against the atrocities of the South African government during the apartheid era. So it was a fitting, and I believe is a fitting, tribute to such a great man, a luminary, and he will live on forever in the lives that he touched of Black people in the U.S., the Caribbean, the motherland, and throughout the diaspora. So a beautiful issue. We got word, Brother Naba'a, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was very pleased with the representation and the coverage in the current issue of the paper. So, of course, you and Brother James G. know that's always a sigh of relief when the publisher of peace is pleased with our efforts. So all praise is due to Allah.
Well, Sister, thank you very much. So what you have described is a collector's edition and the value of an independent press, where we can devote as many pages, 4, 8, 12, 16, however many pages we need to tell the story properly. You did that. You did it in a magnificent way. We'll be coming back to you in a minute. But let me go down south for a minute to the great city of Dallas. Cheryl Smith, tell me a little bit of something about what's going on in Dallas, or what are some of the major stories you're dealing with the Texas Metro News, the Garland Journal, and iMessenger?
Well, first and foremost, assalamu alaikum to you. You're taking me from a high to a low, and talking about Texas, and I just have to say it's interesting before I get into Texas that, you know, we have the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's birthday coming up, and I remember when we talk about a free press, I remember this attorney in Dallas calling me out because I do birthdays in my publications, and I said happy birthday to the minister, and he wanted to check me. I'm from New Jersey. You know, I came up and I heard, you know, brothers talking earlier. I came up in Newark, New Jersey, who consistently when I was growing up was like in the top 3 sellers of the Final Call when I was growing up. So don't check me.
There you go.
About the minister. And so I'll be a little more conservative than the brother who called in. And I'll keep this tone where it needs to be for me. But I will just say that, you know, his birthday is coming up, and guess what? I'll say happy birthday again.
All right.
I absolutely adore him. I adore the message. I adore the work, and I adore when and I have a little 3-year-old coming in here.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It needs to go. But to tell you about what's going on in down here, I just have to tell you 2 things. Of course, when I talk to elected officials here, which today happens to be, today was the last day of early voting here. And so I'm walking out, and that reporter instinct in me still. And so I said, oh, okay, so 775 people voted today. And she said, no, that was for the entire, period of early voting. And that causes you to pause for a moment, just thinking about how low the voter turnout, and if we want to affect change, and what we are having to deal with because of, when you have Trump thanking black people for not voting, it says something about what we need to be doing. But 2 bills that I want to address specifically, there was the Crown Act, and we know that we're having issues with our hair. That's another way of profiling us. And then, but this one is really significant. We have a Senate Bill 133, and the Texas Senate passed it. And if you just think for a minute, this is a bill that prohibits restraints on students 10 years and younger. Now, it's sickening that during the 2021 school year, there were over 35,000 incidents of student restraint.
Wow. Say that again, Cheryl. Say that again, Cheryl.
There were more than 35,000 incidents of student restraint, with more than 4,000 of those incidents involving peace officers or school resource officers. We don't have to imagine what those young people look like. And when you put handcuffs or zip ties on, that traumatizes our children. And we know what they look like. We know what Texas has not been good to black and brown people. And so for that bill to be passed, and it says somebody under 10, we have some work that we have to do, and this involves voting and voting the right people into office. But I loved hearing Sister Muhammad talking about the tribute to Mr. Belafonte, and also I watch Black Star Network all the time, and so I do see what's going on and see the type of coverage that we don't have anywhere else. And I just have to say that I am very honored to be here tonight, because BJ may remember back, I did Reporters Roundtable on KKDA for 22 years, and I came on immediately after the minister. And at one point, the station manager, Chuck Smith, said, "Do you want to change time?" I said, "No, I'm right where I need to be."
Go ahead, sister. Thank you.
I needed to be where people were going to have a certain mindset when they come into my show. And so I have to give a shout out to that brother minister down here, also down a little further south, Brother Robert Muhammad.
Right now, Abdul Halim Muhammad. Right. Thank you, Sister Cheryl.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to try to we're going to go to a break at the top of the hour. So Brother BJ is going to let me know when we got a minute before we need to hit that. But Sister Naima right here in the great windy city of Chicago, I want you to give me a good 3 minutes, take us into the break, and we'll let you come back, and we'll go back and have a bigger discussion after the break, okay? So, Sister Naima Latif, go right ahead. What's in the news that's capturing your attention, or something that our people need to be aware of?
Yes, assalamu alaikum to my sisters. Such an invigorating conversation. Well, here in Chicago, the nation has been, the country of America and the world has been focusing on Chicago, because Chicago, after its new mayoral election, is now being named the site for the 2024 Democratic Convention. And
very recently, there was an eruption of young people in the downtown area, and this has been the topic of discussion over the last week and more, because there is now fear. And the question has become, what do we do about our young people? Well, one of the things that I look at is the fact that this was very skillfully, in my opinion, timed, because one of the issues that came up in the mayoral election had to do with policing of our community.
Exactly.
And both candidates had a very strong position about it, but the one candidate, Paul Vallis, who happens to be Caucasian, was more for increasing the police presence in the community as a remedy for the crime, whereas Brandon Johnson, who ultimately was the victor in that race, talks more about addressing the root causes of crime and the mental illness that precipitates so much of what is wrongfully termed a police action and met with police force.
Yeah,
so
Sister,
it appears to me.
Sister Naima, let me break in. Don't lose your point. Jot it down if you have to. I'm going to go back
Absolutely.
to BJ, and we're going to come into the break. When we come back, we're going to pull Brother James G. Muhammad into this discussion. Thank you. So, Brother BJ, it's back to you.
All right. It's great panel discussion. Black Press Roundtable right here on Straight Words with Brother Naba'a, Richard Muhammad, BJ Murphy, and the great Brother James G. Muhammad in the studio with us on WVON. And our phone line numbers. Do you want people to kind of chime in too, brother?
We absolutely want people to call in.
Okay, so we can line up some more people. You want to get in on our Black Panel Press conversation at 773-591-1690. That's 773-591-1690. We're going to be right back on the Talk of Chicago, WVON 1690 AM.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
So you can get an official letter from the lender that you're ready to purchase a home. This is Dawn Day on the Black Information Network.
I'm Terry McCready.
And I'm Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Pentagon emails reveal in the hours before protests over the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis turned destructive, leaders were warned the situation could become dangerous and that the Minnesota National Guard was ready to help. According to a Wilder research report, a local government official said they were abandoned, and by the time the National Guard arrived, things had quieted down. Emails obtained by the Minneapolis Star Tribune show that on May 28th of 2020, days after Floyd's death by Minneapolis police, U.S. General Joseph Lengyel warned top Pentagon leaders about the situation. Minneapolis police were anticipating over 70,000 protesters that weekend as mass outrage was already underway.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers the U.S. could default on its debt as early as June 1st if Congress fails to raise or suspend the debt ceiling. Trey Thomas reports.
She said it's imperative Congress act as soon as possible to increase the limit. But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is rejecting a White House demand for a clean debt ceiling hike.
The only way you solve problems is you negotiate. And I'm looking forward to the president changing his mind and negotiating with us.
President Biden is set to meet with top congressional lawmakers later this month to discuss the debt ceiling. I'm Trey Thomas.
All right, well, an investigation has been launched after a viral video of a Barstow, California police officer using a baton to hit an unruly suspect during an arrest. It happened just a few days ago when an officer spotted 43-year-old Gary Christian along East Main Street and confirmed through police dispatch that Christian was wanted for an outstanding felony. The officer approaching Christian and tried to place him under arrest, but when he refused to comply, the officer used his taser, which was ineffective. Christian apparently assaulted the officer again, and that's when he struck the suspect with a baton to place him under arrest. The video clip is less than a minute long and begins on a sidewalk where the officer swings his baton and the suspect is seen with his arms raised trying to defend himself.
About 16.8 million black Americans, or about 1 in 3, live in counties with little or no access to heart specialists. Telehealth company GoodRx reports when researching counties that have substantial black populations. 72% are cardiology deserts, and most are in southeastern states. The findings emphasize the barriers pertaining to care for a population already struggling disproportionately from cardiovascular disease. Blacks face a 30% higher risk of death from heart disease than white people.
Grammy-winning singer Alicia Keys has personally invited 16-year-old Ralph Yarl to her show in Kansas City, Missouri this summer. He's the black teenager who was shot multiple times after accidentally ringing a doorbell at the wrong home. The family's attorney Lee Merritt telling TMZ that Jay-Z's Rock Nation has also reached out to the teen to assist in any way possible. The family's GoFundMe account has raised more than $3.4 million. Film and television production in Hollywood and beyond is officially at a standstill. We'll have more details, including what it means for your favorite film projects, coming up in entertainment. For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news affecting the black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. I'm Terry McCready along with Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Infant immunization protects babies and families from preventable diseases throughout life. That's your healthy reminder.
Perry Small.
Brother Patel, you're on BON.
Negroes do not want to accept responsibility for them badass children. I'm on the north side, west side, east side, south side, downtown, Chicagoland every day. These are black children coming downtown causing havoc and chaos. Children are allowed downtown, but if you acting like a damn savage, don't nobody want to be around you, and they call themselves savages. So miss me with trying to put them down.
Perry Small, weekdays at 9 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
This is P-Ray of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self-esteem. As we battle COVID-19, be sure to heal yourself internally by using your God-given immune system, as well as any other treatments you choose. Be sure to take lots of vitamins, bake your melanin in the sunshine, and sweat a couple times a week. Put that pop down and drink water to build and hydrate your body from the inside. God gave everybody more than a little common sense, so bring it with you this Sunday to Black Excellence Hour at 5 p.m. on WVON.
Welcome inside the Black Star Project, live from the Xfinity Studios here at WVON Radio 1690, the Talk of Chicago. My name is Herb Howard. Every Saturday at 6 p.m., I am alongside my equal parts brilliant and beautiful co-host, the one and only Miss Juliet Scott. We are talking all things the black community, from finances to government. Please join us. We want your opinion. Weigh in every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on the Talk of Chicago. Do you want a revolution?
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
What's up, Chicago? This is BJ Murphy.
This is Naba'a Richard Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Richard Muhammad and
Brother BJ Murphy.
And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
I'm Reverend Mitchell L. Johnson, host of Straight Talk Radio featuring My Community Plan Foundation. Join me Sundays from 7 to 9 p.m. as we discuss community transformation. From housing to energy to economic development, our mission is local, our effect is global. From the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles to the DuSable African American Museum here in Chicago, you will be touched, educated, and informed. Straight Talk Radio, Sundays at 7 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Dad! Come on! Over here! Look at this, Dad! Over!
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, biking, fishing, or camping. Or do your own thing when you get there with family and friends. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The following message is brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The inherent right to work is one of the elemental privileges of a free people. Endowed, as our nation is, with abundant physical resources, and inspired as it should be with the high purpose to make those resources and opportunities available for the enjoyment of all, we approach this problem of reemployment with the real hope of finding a better answer than we have now.
Your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Your stuff can be a resource for change. Donate to Goodwill, where your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Who you calling up? Y'all remember that?
No.
I can't say that word. I can't say that.
No.
Who you calling the queen? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
there you go. Hey, that's the Muslims right there.
3 queens on the phone.
That's right. WVON 1690. This is the Talk of Chicago. This is BJ Murphy here with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, and also our great brother James G. Muhammad. And this is Straight Words, and we're having a great conversation. This is our inaugural show. Next week is the birth anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on May the 11th. On next Tuesday, we're going to be doing a special tribute, getting everybody around the country to call in at 773-591-1690 to pay your tribute and what the minister has meant to you in his 90 years of life, which, of course, the biggest portion of it has been to save black people.
Yes,
so we owe him a debt of gratitude, and we want to keep him at the forefront. And this is the Defending Farrakhan portion of the show with our Black Press Roundtable. So we're going to give it back over to Brother Richard and the great panel that we have going on. We got some more content we got to get to. So this is we're on the freeway now. We're on the expressway of straight words. So go ahead, Brother Naba'a.
So thank you. Sisters, we got about 10 minutes left for this segment. So Brother James G., why don't you jump in right here?
What I would ask the sisters to address is, as females, as women, sisters, leading publications, what are some of the challenges that are particular to you that you are facing as you're trying to lead these organizations that you're leading? And what are some of the things that you would hope to achieve in your roles? Any one of you can jump in. Let's start, Cheryl. I guess we'll start with you. Haven't seen you in a minute, so.
Yeah, and I'll be very brief. The support there. I can remember driving down Martin Luther King Boulevard, and I had Brother Muhammad that would bring me, Brother Carl Muhammad would bring the paper to me at the Dallas Weekly every week. And so when I was in my car, when I saw brothers on the street, I would just give them some money so that they could give a paper to the next person coming to try to get this information out there. And all of us are putting this information out here. We just need the love of the people we're doing it for, because everybody doesn't seem to realize that all ice is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we just need for people to, when we were the only thing we had, we supported it. And, that support, because we have the journalists, we have the talent, we have the skill set, and we just need more of the resources. And we need that support from the people we are trying to be here for.
It's just, Naima, what about the resources and the challenges you face? When you talk about resources, what resources are you in need of, other than the support from the community, obviously?
I think one of the most powerful things we can recognize is that because the industry itself has evolved and so much of the reading is digital and people are carrying around the information right at the tip of their fingers on their cell phones, being both print and digital is a very powerful thing, because we now have what all of the networks have, what all of the publications have. We have the same power, so the playing field has been equalized in many ways. Our job is basically to use what we have and build the networks and be able to reach the people and build our databases and take the time to tell the story. And one thing I wanted to finish what I was saying before about this explosion of information about our young people, and we heard it talked about even in one of the promos during the break. It's critical that we take the power to define what happened. And that's why this show is so important. We know that Minister Farrakhan saw decades ago, the reason why he organized the Million Man March, that our young people were going to be portrayed as dangerous, and therefore that would be the excuse to brutalize and repress the people. And even our own people would be moved to a state of fear about our children, our youth, our young people. But we know also that incident had to have been instigated, because we know from COINTELPRO and the past that it's very easy, if people are not rightly guided, for them to be misguided and used as tools against their own demise. So we have to seize the power as people of the press and correct the narrative and reach those young people. And the biggest challenge is to capturing the minds of those young people who have been misguided and are being used as tools for their own self-destruction, because we know what's in them is greater, and we know that they have that divine spark. We just have to find it and inspire it in them. Yeah. And that's our job as people of the press.
Yeah, it's important what you mentioned about us defining the narrative about those kinds of incidents. And that's kind of a little bit what troubled me about the brother who was really getting on the young people. Of course, they were not acting correctly, but we can't just allow the police force to do what we know they wanted to do in that situation. Real quickly as well, Sister Starla, of course, we pray every day for the FOI who are out there pushing the final call, going into areas that some consider dangerous and showing love to our people. But as an assistant to our great brother Naba'a Muhammad, what are some of the challenges, not challenges, but goals that you have as a sister who is coming up under a great brother and into leadership at a publication that is international?
Yes, sir. Well, one of the things that I have learned so much being under the tutelage of my big brother, Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, is the importance of collaboration and working with other Black-owned independent media outlets. And I think one of our goals is to continue that outreach, because we are definitely more powerful and able to reach a greater array of people when we work together. So I think not only programs such as this, where you have members of independent Black-owned media organizations who are coming on to share what they are doing, is important. Of course, we had our brother Mandine on earlier and the work that Pro does. So I think definitely working together in more collaborative efforts is something that is definitely a goal. The final call, of course, is also a proud member of NNPA. And of course, we want to help strengthen that as an organization. So I think for me, just continuing to work with our brothers and sisters in these various media platforms to reach as many of our people as possible, to give them the straight, no chaser truth about what is really going on that impacts our people in various aspects of life.
Sisters, we've got about 4 minutes left to this segment. So if each of you want to take about a minute and a half, and again, if you want to give us your perspective about something happening in media, a phenomenon, or an upcoming story that you are looking at dealing with. So let's go Sister Cheryl, then let's go Naima Latif, then Sister Starla Muhammad will have you close it out. And thank you all. We're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll say that we are going to be looking at the 50th anniversary of hip-hop and the influence and the impact that hip-hop has had on our communities and our world, and delving inside and outside, behind the scenes, and dealing with some of the negative stereotypes and information that has been put out there to tear our communities down. And that's something we're looking forward to. I have to give a shout out because tomorrow is James Brown's birthday, and he had such an impact on the amount of sampling that was done is unreal. But we're looking at the housing crisis here because we have the most veterans, homeless veterans in the country are based in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that's a big story for us. And you were right to talk about collaboration, because we do a lot of that. And I know that, like Bobby Henry from the West Side Gazette in Florida is listening, and Terry Sanders from Omaha. Yes, there's Black people in Omaha well. And we're sharing the word. And we have to do more of this. Like minds have to get together and realize we can't do it by ourselves, but we can do a lot more all together.
Very good. Sister Naima, you got 90 seconds. Go ahead, my sister.
Well, I work with a fantastic team of women every day on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show, and we have been championing the cause of health care and empowerment, and helping the body heal itself as it was meant to be, instead of us being victimized by a system that's meant to exploit us and misguide us. And so we have been championing that every day on our shows and in our publication, On Air Magazine, and our daily news, radio. We're reaching out, and we're also working with the farmers. And so we're going to be getting with our sister down in North Carolina there because we're going to take back our land and revitalize this earth. And that's what our stories have been about, is empowerment and giving people that sense that, yes, we can and yes, we are. And that's our goal for this year and beyond.
Thank you. Sister Starla Muhammad, take us home in 90 seconds, please.
Yes, sir. Well, you can definitely stay tuned for our upcoming issue of the Final Call. Of course, we will be dedicating much of that coverage to our fearless leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as he turns 90 years of age. And so we know that he is not only a freedom fighter, he's our champion, he's our brother, he's our friend. No better friend the black man and woman in America and throughout the world has than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So you can stay tuned to that. Just like Sister Cheryl said, we will be taking a look at 50 years of hip-hop. And, of course, you know, there is a link between the origins of hip-hop and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we will be delving into that as well. So we encourage you all to subscribe to The Final Call. You can visit www.finalcall.com, take out a digital subscription. Of course, when you see the FOI suited and booted in a city near you, make sure you pick up a physical copy of the paper, not just one, but pick up a couple of copies for a family member or friend. You can follow The Final Call on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and Brother Naba, of course, you know, also on TikTok. We appreciate the support. Looking forward to collaborations, and thank you, brother, so much. May Allah continue to bless this mighty, mighty effort. I know what I will be doing on Tuesday evenings at 9 p.m. Central.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Ahead, sis.
So, sisters, thank you so much. We're going to close this segment. We want to do two things real quick. Two important things. One, and Eugene, hold on, we got you. We're going to have Eugene Perrier coming on very soon, talking about international events, the peace movement, and we're going to close the show with Sister Beatrice X, who will be talking about justice for her sister, Dorothy. So, first of all, to support the show financially, you can Cash App straight $ straight words. That's $ straight words. And you can Zelle, try 312-480-9775. And if you're going to do PayPal, do straight words, straight words and the number 4 at gmail.com. STRAIGHT the number 4 at gmail.com. So, Brother BJ, let's take the caller who's been holding, and then we'll get right to you, Brother Eugene. Stand by.
Okay. I got Brother Eugene.
Okay.
We'll come back to Brother Hamid.
Okay, well, let's, okay, Brother Eugene. We have Eugene Perrier on the line. Thank you. Now, Brother, who's the caller again?
Hamid.
Brother Hamid, hold on. We're going to get you in, I promise you.
Hamid, we got Hamid now.
We got him?
Assalamu alaikum, my brothers.
Wa alaikum salam. If we could get you in with your comment, thank you for holding, and then we're going to go to Brother Eugene Perrier.
Yeah, this is Brother Hamid calling from Maryland.
Thank you, my home state. Thank you, sir.
And I'm really enjoying the show. You know, I love our Minister Farrakhan. You know, I remember I was living in Chicago when Wallace Muhammad brought him to Chicago, to that little satellite temple on the west side. I was there. And when Minister Farrakhan got there, I was one of the brothers that escorted him to that little temple. And I also worked at the Muhammad Speak newspaper plant, so been around a long time.
Wow.
Eugene Majid, did you know him?
Brother Hamid, man, this is a blessing. Look, brother, the editor James G. Muhammad asked real quick, did you know the great Eugene Majid? And Brother Eugene, Brother Eugene, hold on for a minute. Go ahead, Brother Hamid. Give us a quick story.
I worked with Brother Robert. I worked with Eugene. I worked with Askill. All of those brothers. I remember when Brother Supreme Counsel Sharif used to come over to the press, and I used to, study these brothers and admire this brother. That's why I took the name Sharif.
Go ahead, man.
Because of Raymond Sharif.
Wow.
Brother Hamid, thank you so much, and it just shows you how Allah blesses us. I'm so glad we took your call. We hope that you will tune in, and thank you, brother. We're going to switch over now to Brother Eugene Perrier. We thank you, Brother Eugene, for holding on. And Brother Eugene Perrier is an organizer. He's an activist. He's a journalist. And give me a minute. I'm going to pull up my brother's bio because I wonder, he's held so patiently, brother. And Brother Eugene, I felt that what you have to say takes us again out of the American context and takes us again into the international. So he is a longtime journalist, community-based organizer. He's now in New York. He's organized against the war in Iraq. He's organized against the continuing U.S. war and occupation in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was a leader in the struggle for the Jena 6 in 2027. He was a founder of the anti-gentrification group Justice First, as well as the Jobs Not Jails campaign, D.C. Ferguson Movement, Stop Police Terror. He's the author of this book, Shackled and Chained, Mass Incarceration in Capitalist America, and he has worked for the past 4 years as the lead host of By Any Means Necessary, a public affairs radio program in Washington, D.C. Currently, he is the lead host of News on Breakthrough, a social media justice project. Brother Eugene, take us into the international realm. What are some of the things we need to know right now?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, Brother Muhammad, Brother BJ, I just want to congratulate you brothers for coming out here and putting this show together, for not just giving me this platform, but creating an important way to bring more conscious energy into our people, by any means necessary. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Internationally, there's so many pieces, but I think we should probably start right at the heart of the African continent.
Go ahead.
Because we know that the country of Sudan right now is in immense turmoil, and truly the heart of the African continent. Many people don't know. I know you know this, Brother Richard Muhammad. The first pyramid, the original pyramids in Sudan, not in Egypt. Interesting concept. But, we see now that this ancient African civilization has now become a caricature on the front page of the news, like everything else, just a bunch of Africans killing each other, and is a very tragic situation, a very complex situation in some ways, but I think an easy one for us to understand, because the conflict that is happening right now in Sudan is essentially a reflection of how our entire world order is shifting in very profound ways. And people are looking for changes that they have perhaps always looked for, but there are new and differing possibilities that are creating all sorts of differing alignments that are playing out. And so in Sudan, what you have right now at the most basic level is you have two very powerful people, General al-Burhan, who's in the head of the military, basically, the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and then you have another brother, General Hemeti, who is the head of basically another wing of the armed forces, the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. They're fighting each other. The basic reality there is they're trying to figure out who can be the top dog to try to put themselves in the top position to negotiate with powers externally to Sudan and internally to figure out what the future of the country is going to be. And it's really not a long history, but a history that goes back to about 2019, because what you had in Sudan was a huge uprising that happened. And they toppled the then government of Omar al-Bashir. And there are things we could say about Bashir, good, bad, or indifferent, but the reality is the vast majority of Sudanese people didn't want him anymore. And ultimately, there was a faction of his own supporters in the government, in the military, who decided to throw him overboard so they didn't get wiped away by these millions of people who were marching here on the street in Sudan. And so at the end of the day, what happens is they not only throw him overboard, but they cut a deal with the U.S. powers, the European powers, many of the, very close to the West Gulf states, to back them, these two individuals who are now fighting, to create a government where basically they would remain in control. Their friends and functionaries would control all of the different pieces, but that they would create a little civilian fig leaf, but they would give a good deal to the West for backing them in this change and allowing them to take power. One, they would normalize relations with Israel. And Sudan, of course, is one of the countries that has been the most stalwart against Israel going back to 1967 and the Khartoum Conference of the Arab League, the famous 3 no's against any normalization of Israel. So sort of beyond belief that Sudan would normalize relations with Israel, so-called Abraham Accords pushed by Trump and now Biden. The second thing they would do is they would open up Sudan to the IMF and to the World Bank and allow them to do their economic destruction that we know they've done all across the African continent. And that the third thing that they would do, and this is, critically important, is they would start to back some of the different Western moves in the region. For instance, the attempt to destabilize the government in Ethiopia that was also backed by the West that took place, the so-called Tigray War, and a number of different fronts. And we could go on and on into this. But basic problem that they had was people got fed up with the fact that there had been a sweetheart deal cut. And they said they had changed something, but they really hadn't changed anything. So this same movement that had swept out one leader comes in, and they're pushing on these two individuals who are now leading the fighting. So then they more or less decide, okay, we're just going to ditch any idea of ruling with the quote-unquote civilians. We're going to set up our own military government, and we're just going to keep it moving. But that didn't work for their friends in Washington, D.C., in Brussels, in the IMF and the World Bank buildings, in Tel Aviv, in Israel. They didn't like that because they wanted to pretend they were backing a quote-unquote democracy. So for the past 6 months, there's been a very intense pressure on Sudan coming from America, coming from Europe, so-called international community, the Gulf states, who have a big interest because they buy up a lot of land in Sudan and then, grow food there that they can take back to their countries. And they buy the land very cheaply, and they don't give that much back to people locally. So they've been putting all this pressure on them to try to create some sort of government that they can claim is a democracy, that they can claim fits in with this so-called Western idea of freedom and democracy that we know has destroyed, everywhere from Iraq to Syria to Libya and so on. And they're right on the verge of that deal, and they get to one sticking point. Who's going to control most of the guns? And that's what Burhan and Hemeti, the army and the RSF, have fallen out over, and that's why they're fighting, because they both are kind of equal in power, and they want to make sure they're number one in power so that when it comes down to cutting the deal for the second time, they can be the one that reap the majority of benefits and become the preferred, interlocutor of these Western powers. So you can see what's really happening is it's very complex in some ways, but it's all part of one scheme and one attempt to prevent one thing from happening, and that's what the Sudanese people want, which is a democracy in their country. They want to kick out the IMF and the World Bank. I mean, these are the actual proposals of, if you see the big protests happen in Sudan, they're saying they don't want the IMF and the World Bank. They want to support Palestine, not Israel. They want to end the normalization. They want to get rid of all these corrupt land deals. They want to start getting more money from the mining of gold and other critical minerals. They want to have free health care, free education. They want to lift people out of poverty. They want to redistribute wealth. They want to create more jobs. So this is what they want, but we know that goes against the agenda of what so many imperialist powers want in this world, and certainly want in Africa. And so ultimately all their machinations have now led to this terrible, tragic war with, probably thousands dead. Most of the hospitals now in Sudan, the vast majority of them in the major cities, no longer operating. People don't have food. People don't have water, constant killing. And it's all a result of the fact that, in the big powers of the world, at least in the West, they don't want to see the people rule in Sudan or anywhere in Africa, and they're willing to do whatever they can, no matter what the consequences. And here we are living with it. But I think it's important to think about it in that context when they're trying to blame everybody, either the savage tribal Africans or the Russians or whoever. None of that really is germane. What really is happening here is the long-term results of the fact that the imperial powers don't want to see Sudan get up off its feet and have a government that wants to empower it.
Yeah, man, Brother Eugene, thank you. We got another guest we got to get in, but I want to give you 5 minutes, and Sister Beatrice will be coming to you after this. But in this 5 minutes, give me anything you feel, either anti-war movement in the U.S. or anti-imperialism internationally. Give me anything in this 5 minutes. And again, we'll have to have you back again to really delve deeper into this. Lastly, in the final call, Naba'a Muhammad, the columnist who writes Africa Watch, has a piece. The headline is "Regional Power is at the Root of Sudan's War." So, Brother Eugene, go ahead. Give us a good 5 minutes on anything you think that we should pay attention to.
Yes, I think we should pay close attention to South Africa. Just speaking again of the continent, which is under an intense pressure campaign from the United States that I think that everybody who wants to see, self-determination and sovereignty for oppressed peoples around this world has to stand up against. And it's over the BRICS summit. So South Africa, biggest economy in Africa. We know South Africa plays a huge role in the African continent, but a huge role diplomatically, internationally. This year, it is heading up the BRICS Forum. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, their sort of economic bloc that's growing in clout, displacing in many ways the West, creating a lot of new alignments. The meeting in South Africa is supposed to be especially big because South Africa, as the BRICS presidency, is how to turn the BRICS towards Africa. So how to get all the other big developing economies to work in a collaborative and developmental way towards Africa to lift the development of the continent. So, of course, a key part of BRICS is Russian President Vladimir Putin. Because of the NATO proxy war, obviously any big diplomatic stage for Putin is bad for the West. So there is this attempt to have this bogus ICC warrant, a court that only tries Africans, oftentimes on trumped up charges, not by and large. They've issued this arrest warrant against him. No chance he'll ever be arrested. But since South Africa is a member of the criminal court, the International Criminal Court, it's designed to embarrass South Africa and to put them in a situation to where they will disinvite Putin from coming to the BRICS summit, which will dominate the agenda of the BRICS summit, which will humiliate the country of South Africa, which will kneecap the efforts of South Africa to bring other nations around the world to help Africa in its own plans to develop in a real way. All these things, and we've seen South Africa leading. They've done naval drills with Russia and China when the U.S. said they don't want to do that. They've been sending high-level delegations, to Russia. I've talked to ANC members from the ruling party who have been there in Donbass, following the elections. I mean, they're busting all the propaganda around so many of these things that are happening all around the world. And there's an attempt by the U.S. government now to pressure them to take them down. They want to delist them from AGOA, which is a trade deal which governs a lot of their business. They want to ruin and spoil the BRICS summit. So right now you have a very clear attempt by the government of this country in the name of everyone listening to this right now, because they say they do this in our name, trying to hobble and kneecap one of Africa's most powerful countries in a malign agenda, which is really to kneecap the continent and any country around the world that's trying to rise up. And I think people need to speak out and stand against that. And I think that's a big issue that's flying way under the radar, and no one is looking at it. South Africa has two people here trying to negotiate with the U.S. right now, not to sanction them into oblivion. And it's just completely ridiculous given who's going to sanction the U.S., for the destruction of all these places, all these war criminals, George Bush and the rest, Barack Obama, quite frankly, running around here totally free. And they're going to try to destroy South Africa. So that's one I'd watch. And one we're going to try to cover at Breakthrough News. You can check us out at breakthroughnews.org.
Brother Eugene, thank you so much, man. And again, I promise you we'll have to have you back on to talk more, because these are things that we need to know about. But thank you so much. And now we're going to go to Sister Beatrice as we close the show. We got about, how much time do we have, Brother BJ? Is it 18 minutes?
Look, we got about 21 minutes left.
21 minutes left, and we need how many minutes to close? One and a half?
Yes, sir. Go all the way up to the top of the hour, brother.
All the way up to the top of the hour. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Beatrice, you there?
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Naba'a. Yes, sir, I am here.
Well, this is...
Can you hear me?
I can. We can hear you loud and clear,
okay.
Sister. Thank you for coming on. And we are
thank
happy
you so much for having me on your special... This is such a special gift to all of us. Tuesdays are kind of boring. so now we really have something to look forward to, because we got Mondays, brothers class, Tuesday was really nothing, Wednesday mouse meeting, Friday. Mm-hmm. This is really a great thing, and a tribute to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I like to say in the nation and the work is that this year has been really rough for myself and my family, And if it had not been for the coming of Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and our divine reminder in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I know that I don't know where I would be. I just don't, because this fight in Phoenix, Arizona, with these wicked Jim Crow don't want to let go. They have a system there. They're bullies. They have the people afraid to fight. And so when you're fighting there, you're fighting by yourself. And they use intimidation matters. As a matter of fact, my life was threatened. Actually came by my home in Arizona to threaten my life.
Yeah.
And so this fight here, but thinking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I'm fighting these little devils. He's fighting the universe of devils, right?
Absolutely.
And so it has been my inspiration and my gratitude to the coming of Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I could not have been in this fight for a year with these wicked people.
Very good.
Without
And
that foundation.
I wanted Sister Beatrice to introduce a little more about the current fight that you're in. Certainly you're one of the founders of the Love Not Blood campaign. And this is a group, brothers and sisters, that ministers to, that cares for, that supports the families of those who have lost family members to violence, and in particular police violence. Our Sister Beatrice, and her husband, Uncle Bobby X, who is the uncle of Oscar Grant, who was one of the he was killed by a traffic cop on a platform in Oakland while handcuffed. And it was one of the first ones of these horrific events that was captured on cell phone video. But now, Sister Beatrice, with all of the people you've been helping, Mike Brown, Eric Garner, all of those families, for the past year, you have been in your own fight for justice for your sister, Dorothy. Give us your story about the fight. Where is it now? And of course, you're calling out of Oakland, but the death of your sister occurred in Phoenix. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'll just give on April 26, 2022, my sister, Dorothy Jean Dale Chamber, and her companion, Joseph Gutierrez, was crossing the street. They were residents of Perry Park, which is a park that many homeless people called home. She had left my brother's home a year prior, his beautiful home. She had her own room, but, that's where she wanted to be. We didn't like it, but we certainly loved her, and we certainly supported her by going by every week to check on her. So on April 26, 2022, a Caucasian driver by the name of Naba'a Muhammad, who was speeding, he was doing 58 to 60 miles in a 40-mile zone. All the witnesses said that he was speeding. All the witnesses said that he would have saw them if he was not speeding. One of the witnesses said he was zigzagging in and out of traffic. Well, he came and he hit both of them while they were crossing in a marked crosswalk where the triangles were, but it was a marked crosswalk, and he hit and killed them both. He said he was not drinking. He blew a .031. The first responding officer who came gave him a sobriety test. He flunked several steps in the test, and the officer wrote in his report 2 times that he showed signs of impairment. An officer came later, 1 hour and 50 minutes later, and gave him an eye exam and allowed him to drive off with their blood and gut on his car, on his truck. They never gave him a blood test. And when the later officer asked him, well, you blew a .031, he said he took 2 doses of Dayquil, and they allowed him to go home because my sister and Joseph were unsheltered. The officer, the detective over the case named Taryn Campbell, he never bothered to call our family, even though they knew where my sister was that night. They had her Arizona ID that had the address of my niece who checked on her for us weekly, and it also had my brother's
new home address, and they never bothered to call us. He never bothered to call us. My sister laid in the morgue for 8 days. It's because of our weekly check that we came. My niece went not the 7th day, but the 8th day, because we had saw her 7 days prior, and she went, and that's how we found out that she was dead. The Phoenix police never bothered to call her. To this day, that detective has never called us. We have called him in the early part to address this issue of why he didn't call, and he lied and said he has a couple of databases and he couldn't find her, but it's a lie because the lieutenant later also found her. If her Arizona ID says next to Ken, which would be myself and my niece's address. And so we have been in a fight. It appears that this person, his reach is far into the police department and all the governments in Arizona. He owns a big company called Truck Max, where, if you know, the police and racist people, their new horse is the big trucks. And that's how they drive on the street. They dominate the street with the big trucks. But they have a company that makes these big trucks. My sister was killed with over 16,000 pounds of the round 1,500. And so there is a lot of police officers, not from just Phoenix, but California and all around, come there and get those trucks. So I know that there's a connection there, but they have been protecting this person. And we have been fighting and fighting. The detective never moved the case unless I call the police chief. Just to get police reports, I had to call the police chief. As I said, someone threatened my life. What they came back with the person who came by, who actually to me looked like the killer of my sister, is that, that bogus story they told that he was in the mental health. I said, well, go talk to him. Well, we would, but he's out now. Now he's homeless somewhere. We don't know. It's all to cover for this person, Naba'a Muhammad. But it gets worse because on November 7th, so we finally pushed and pushed and pushed until on February 7th, he had a arraignment for charges. The county turned it down. They got the case on the 1st, turned it down on the 1st, but they lied to us on the 2nd and said they had it in the office, they was going to look at it, and they was going to let us know by the 9th of December if they would take the case. But they had already made a decision on December 1st, and the way I found out is that a lieutenant accidentally sent me that paper that says that the police department got the paper on December 1st that they would not take the case. But they told our family on December the 2nd, oh, we have it. She's going to look at it, and they're going to make a decision on the 9th when they already had. On the 1st, they had already sent that to the police department. So as you can see, our victims' rights are violated through and through. So then when I met with the Maricopa County and their lawyers, we went over the case. And let me just say, we usually go in protesting and marching. That Phoenix is very different. And I was told that by a lifetime friend, former Councilman Michael Johnson, who said it's different here. So he said, let me help you. And he did help me. He got me to the people that I needed to speak with without bringing in the people to protest. The same people that we would have had to protest to see, I was able to meet with them. But when I met with them, they were still those same people. So we were in a meeting with Maricopa County, and actually the case was laid out to why he could be charged with felony charges. And they told, this is what the lawyer told me. He said, well, I say, forget about the alcohol, because they was like, well, that could have been something else because they don't have a blood test. So he said it could have been something else. So then I said, okay, forget about the alcohol. Let's go with he was speeding, doing 58 to 60 miles an hour in a 40-mile zone. That's what the black box says. And so he says, well, I don't think we can win a case like that because I would have to poll 12 jurors and asked them if they ever went 58 to 60 miles an hour, and most of them would have, and I couldn't get a conviction. I told him, listen, they have not killed two people who were crossing the street that two other cars let go by to cross the street. That's what I've been dealing with. So
It went back down to city prosecutors, and all he can get is it's a misdemeanor. The most he can get is 6 months in jail. And she said about if there's not a plea deal. I said, how are you going to plea deal 6 months when he killed 2 people?
And this Sister Beatrice, this misdemeanor charge, right? This is the only charge he's facing at this time in Phoenix after killing 2 people while driving his truck, correct?
Yes.
Let me ask you real quick because we got about 8 minutes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Where is that case right now? What can people do to support you and your family in this fight for justice?
The case right now is that on February 7th, he was supposed to appear for arraignment to plead not guilty or whatever. He was a no-show. So not the city prosecutor, I had to tell the judge to put a warrant out for him. They're all in this together, they're all in it together. So the judge put a warrant out for him for his arrest. So then I went to the police chief, and I told the police chief he needs to be picked up because he killed 2 people. So about 2 weeks later, I saw the police chief and the assistant police chief, and I said, hey, how come you don't have him picked up? Where is he at? So before I left the city council meeting, the commander came and said, we just picked him up. He's being booked. So we started calling. We couldn't find anything. Somehow he was able, with 2 charges of bodily injury with death and a failure to appear in the 2nd degree, somehow he was able to get out of Maricopa County Jail without seeing a judge. And that failure to appear in the 2nd degree, the judge could give you 6 months for not showing up. But he was able to get out without seeing a judge. So we had a court date on the 26th. They went a whole month and a half without giving me the papers. Then I found out what happened. He never saw a judge. How do you get out of Maricopa County with those kind of charges and a failure to appear and not see the judge? Because then we would have had to contact the victim and saw the judge with him, and we definitely would have told the judge not to allow him to get out. So somebody bypassed that and allowed him to get out. So he had a court date on the 26th, and I want to thank all the families that came from across the country to stand with our family. I really appreciate it. Mike Brown's family, Andrew Joseph, Ronald Green, Ton Hall, Emmett Till's family. Many other families came to support our family in this effort, and he did not even show up for that.
So wait, he didn't show up for that. They didn't go put the cuffs on him after that?
Let me tell you, it gets this. I'm telling you, this is Arizona, the Wild Wild West. Jim Crow don't want to let go. So what happened? The city prosecutor and the judge agreed because they were going to go on with. I said, no, he should be here. We're all here. Why isn't he here? So then the city prosecutor goes to the judge, and she says, why isn't he here? So somehow the city prosecutor and the lawyer and the judge agreed to let him call in. In that procedure, she said, this is not the norm thing that we do. And so they let him call in for that procedure. And then when I spoke to the judge, she had him put the phone in the front, and I wasn't see it, but he actually took that phone and put it in his pocket. He actually had that phone at the judge's bench when they were talking. So he was privy to hear that. So this week I have to go to the city council meeting and I have to address this situation. Listen, this is a vehicular homicide. I fight the police all the time. But the devastating thing for our family is that we're the victims here. This is not a police case, but I'm fighting this like I fight for Mike Brown, Oscar Grant, and everyone else with the Phoenix Police Department because they are protecting this person. So that was another violation of our victims' rights. So we will continue to call them to action because I don't want this to happen to any other family, and it happens all the time Nobody fights. They're bullies there. They intimidate the families when they do stuff to the families. They have a lot of police killings going on. I'm working with some families there with some atrocious things that happened in Phoenix, where a young man was killed when the killer told Maricopa County to get this boy out of here. He was 20-something years old, and Maricopa County allowed this boy to be killed by that inmate. He told them they had 8 minutes to come get him. They did not come get him, and that young man is dead. And that's the kind of sick things that's happening in Phoenix. And so many black people are moving there from especially Chicago, Detroit, and they have told me that they have been told, you come on vacation and you leave on probation. And that's why we have to stand. Allah got me. I'm not trying to do this, but this is what I have to do, because the DOJ, quote unquote DOJ, they're investigating him, and their investigation is just about up. And one of the things is 5 departments that they're investigating him on, and one is, of course, the police, and the second is their treatment of the homeless. My sister is not a throwaway, and neither was her companion, Joseph Gutierrez. I'm not even clear if his family even knows he is dead, because I'm sure they don't want any extra legal matters coming their way. But I have never seen this family, and if they couldn't find my family, who was a big family in Arizona, and they made no attempt to call us, I know they haven't identified or tried to contact his family in a way where they can recognize that their loved one has been killed. So I always say his name, Joseph Gutierrez, and my sister Dorothy Jean Dale Chambers. They were not throwaways. And I always say they deserve humanitarian aid in life and dignity in death. And
Sister,
they told this guy,
Sister,
they homeless, don't worry about it. Yes,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
We gotta close you out now, but
It's
I
okay,
promise
but I
you
thank
we
you for
will.
the time.
No, we're gonna stay in touch. And when you go to our straightwords.com website, you will see a narrative length story about this. So, Sister Beatrice, you know I love you. We'll stay
I
in
love you
touch.
too. Thank you
Give
so
my best to your husband and everybody. Brother BJ,
Thank
let's
you.
go back to you. Thank you, Sister
Thank
Beatrice.
you. Thank you, Sister Beatrice.
Thank you for allowing me to have this time.
Thank you,
Always.
sister.
It's a lot. And happy birthday, Minister Farrakhan. I love you.
All right, brothers and sisters. We got about 60 seconds left. We got to close out with thank y'all so much for all your love and support of Straight Words, our initial broadcast on WVON 1690 AM, The Talk of Chicago. We're going to be back same time next Tuesday at 9 p.m. with a special tribute. Sir?
9 p.m.
Central. Yeah, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. And we are doing a special tribute to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his 90th birth anniversary. Thank you, Brother James G.
Yes,
Muhammad,
sir. Thank you for
being
inviting me.
here.
Yeah.
And, of course, our great brother Richard Naba'a Muhammad. We thank you for all your great content today. I'm Brother B.J. Murphy. We're out, and we'll see you next Tuesday right here on WVON, The Talk of Chicago. Peace, y'all.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Hey, Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
Adults should strive for at least 2.5 hours of physical activity every week. So let's get moving. That's your healthy reminder.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the B-Sides with Dr. Al Greer on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Going places, WVON's winning races, WVON. We've been waiting for so long, waiting to play for you some of our songs. We've been waiting for so long, we want to play for you some of our songs.
It's Tommy Edwards, and now you are listening to the B-Sides with Dr. Al Greer on 1690 WVON.
That day he walked into my life, he caught
Talk of Chicago. Good morning and welcome to the B-Sides. It's your Dr. Al Greer officially checking in. Good morning to all my B-Siders, my M-Squatters, my third shifters, and of course my dusty insomniacs who hold me down each and every night as I flip the 45s and play the B-Sides here on 1690 WVON.
Dr. Al Greer, the peanut butter brother, flipping the 45s and playing the B-sides.
1690 WVON.
I speak to myself sometimes, and I say, oh my, in a lot of ways you're a lucky guy, and oh, now all you need is a chance to try any love. And in my heart there's a need to shout, dying, screaming, crying, and let me out. Hey, are all those feelings that I want to touch any love? What a world for the lonely kind. Sometimes I feel I'm gonna lose my mind. Can anybody tell me just where to find any love? Any love? Love. Everyone needs a love, no doubt. Any love, any love. And everybody feels alone without any love, any love. And I know there's a love waiting into my life, into my life. Every day as I live, I try to think positive, and I pray for someone good to give any love. Love is sweet and so divine, and I can't wait for my love light to shine, to shine. Can anybody tell